Time, we're just coming up for 15 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. And just to let you know, looking out of the window this morning, out of the studio window, the sun is shining. It's partially cloudy this morning. Right now, the sun is shining. Make the most of it. With myself and with Sandra. And we have our guest with us, don't we, Sandra?
We do, John Carney. And we're just chatting during the news there. Interesting kinds of things. One of the questions I always ask a guest on the radio, and first of all, welcome. Lovely to have you with us.
Yes, I wonder when we get round to that.
I like to mix things up a little bit.
Straight in with the jugglers. Yeah.
What brings somebody to Panama? Well, of course, you're Panamanian.
Born and raised here.
Born and raised here.
Yeah.
But you've had an interesting history, and I asked the question of how you ended up here, and tell us that story.
Well, my mother was going to school in L.A. in 1938-ish.
And she's Panamanian.
She's Panamanian, and Marta Díaz, Quelquille. And my father was learning Spanish. He had an ear for languages, spoke French and Spanish, and he was hanging around with a bunch of Latinos in L.A. They crashed her party.
They parachuted.
Yeah, they danced. My mom, dad, they dated for 2 years. She graduated, came back to Panama. His two options were forget about her or he comes to Panama. So he came down here in 1940.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a wonderful romantic story.
Yeah.
Well, you're such a fine musician and have an incredible history. You went back to the States to study, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well,
your
I started
background.
playing here in Panama when I was 13 years old, back in the heyday of the canal with all the teen clubs. And when I graduated... Playing guitar and bass. And I went to Albuquerque and studied music. And then 1980, I moved to Houston and continued playing there. And I taught music during the week, private lessons, and played a little bit of every style practically. So it was a nice ride.
When you say every style, what kind of music?
I started with classic rock.
So you were classical. Well, you were classical because you mentioned earlier on playing Bach, wasn't it?
Well, when I got to school and I started studying classical, and I was playing the double bass in the symphony orchestra and playing classical guitar. But really, what got me started when I was 9 years old, I heard the Beatles. And Jerry's here with a Beatle T-shirt on and Beatle paraphernalia in the walls, and it's rather apropos. But yeah, and by the time I realized it took talent to do what they did, it was too late. I was already...
A lot of people at times said they didn't have any, didn't they?
That's right. Myself included, yes. Slow learner. But I just kept at it, and here I am, But like I said, it's been a good ride. I really enjoyed it. And, and I'm excited about doing the book at the Jazz Blues Festival in February. So.
Well, we're going to talk about all of those when we come back. We're talking with John Kiko Carney, and we'll be right back.
But that is Joe Cocker here on The Breakfast Show. 24 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. You're with myself, with Sandra, and with John Kiko Carney. And of course, we've got a little story about Joe Cocker, haven't we?
Yes. When I was in Albuquerque, right after college, I was in a band with the younger brother of Bobby Keys, the sax player for the Stones, and Joe Cocker and Tina Turner. And he would come in to visit his brother, and he would bring in friends like Nicky Hopkins, the piano player for the Stones, and Joe Cocker, who actually stayed in my apartment for 2 weeks. And they would come out and sit in with our band, and it was a lot of fun. And it was a little wild and crazy, the era back then.
What year was it?
Late 70s,
Late 70s.
78-ish, right around there, maybe 79.
Right.
Yeah.
A very distinctive voice. Raspy voice, really,
yes.
isn't it? Yeah.
And powerful. You don't get the full effect on the recording. When you're on stage with him and he steps up to that microphone, he's got double the lung power of your, run-of-the-mill singer. And it's something to behold, to be on stage with the power of his voice is just incredible.
Well, you've played with a number of interesting people. Tell us about some of the others.
Oh, gosh. Let me see. I've been on stage opening and playing with Percy Sledge, who was the original singer of When a Man Loves a Woman. And that was a lot of fun. That was in Texas. We opened for Little Richard. In the 80s, I was playing a lot of country and western. And I don't know if you've heard of the country and western artist Clint Black. And I got to play with him, a show with him, and Bo Diddley. We were backstage with Bo Diddley, and he was sitting back there telling jokes, and there was Clint Black. He was not known yet, and he was sitting in the corner all by his lonesome. So I spoke to him and kind of cheered him up, But later on, he invited me to be in his band, but I turned it down for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the way things goes. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have met my wife. I'd have been on the road. And my beautiful wife, Karen, is sitting here in the studio with us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're going to hear more about all of the wonderful experiences you've had in just a minute.
Okay.
And I'm Sandra Snyder, your co-host on The Breakfast Show on Monday and Friday. And this morning, we're talking with John Carney, who is an incredible musician. And you've played with a number of interesting bands. You were telling us about the Big Otis Show Band. Big-time performers.
He was
big in all ways.
Great man. Ex-NFL linebacker, big man, 330 pounds. And he would put on a heck of a show. We had a big band. It was kind of a soul review. It was kind of, for me, it was like going to school. I was learning R&B, soul, funk, variety of styles with him. And we traveled quite a bit. We played in Cancun, Jamaica, on some cruise ships. We did a lot of festivals, and based out of Houston. And got to rub elbows with a lot of well-known acts, celebrities with playing with him. And after 2000. I was playing, the circuits and doing, a variety of different things. But I wound up playing with a lady named Yelba, born in Nicaragua, also based in Houston, with her band that does a lot of Latin music. And as I said earlier in the show, I'm doing the Boquete Jazz Blues Festival in February.
Right.
And she's coming down for that. So it's kind of
neat. That'll be something.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've just had an incredible career. You said music from the time you were kid in grade school.
As soon as I heard the Beatles, I was hooked.
You were hooked. And so you've done classic and rock and jazz and country, western,
R&B.
Yes.
And I love it all. My problem is if I play one style too long, I get tired.
Do you go back to the classics at all?
I do. I go back to I just hit all the bases and try to
literally.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we're just talking about the Jazz Festival, and that's coming up February.
The Blues Festival.
4th through 8th.
Jazz Blues Festival will get there 4th through the 8th of February. Tickets will be going on sale next month, and this year it's sold out. So go to their website and get your tickets. You also want to take care of your accommodations because it gets pretty filled up there.
That's really taken off, isn't it?
It has. It's grown every year, and I'm very honored to be asked. I've been going the last 2 years and made friends with a Swiss blues guitarist by the name of Andy Agart, who plays 200 and some dates a year in Europe.
Wow.
And my wife is from Germany originally, and we were in Europe back in May, and I got to play a couple of jobs with him in Switzerland.
Oh, lovely.
Up in the Alps. Wow. It's been a dream of mine to play in Europe, and just incredible looking down at the clouds and the peaks all around us is just so beautiful.
And what kind of music were you playing
Blues.
there?
Blues. Yeah.
John, you bought an album.
Yes.
I have Blanchard and John Carney. Global Sonic Positioning.
Yes, it's a kind of a concept album. It opens up into 4 panels, and my wife designed it. She's quite talented in that department.
Absolutely.
And there's a song for each of the areas that are highlighted.
There's
on
a
here.
map of the several continents there, and numbers on them, and each number is a song. So the songs take you sonically to different locations in the globe.
Right. Well, you mentioned number 9 on here.
Number
Tell
9
us
is written for Panama.
Spanish
It's called
Rain.
Spanish Rain, and it's supposed to evoke a bit of a feeling of a nice rain shower in Panama. And it seems to be the most popular song on the CD. So if you want to play that one,
we got it right here.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Excellent. I do like that type of music.
Beautiful.
I know what I'm going to be doing with that.
Okay.
I know I'm going to be lying on my bed and relaxing and chilling out to that.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Spanish Rain.
Yes.
And that's just one of the songs on your new album. And tell us about some of the other songs.
Before I do anything, I have to thank my partner, Daniel Blanchard. He's from Maine, but he resides in Houston. And this was quite a labor of love. Took us quite a while to do it because we had to not only record it, but we had to write the songs, which was a process.
Yeah.
And then record it and rearrange as we were going, We have 2. This one's Global Sonic Positioning, which is mostly original songs. There's a couple of covers, but rearranged. And then we have a Christmas CD, but unfortunately it's not the season to play that. But
have you seen the shops recently?
Absolutely.
And I see you've got a lady, Karen Lewis, on vocals on one of the tracks as well.
Right. There's a couple of that one is called Hymn. That's one of the ones we did not write. And we don't reveal the song until she comes in singing midway through.
Oh, really?
That it's actually Battle Hymn of the Republic, which is a, sort of a patriotic song. We dedicate it to the fallen soldiers in Arlington, and it takes you to that spot. Karen Lewis is a wonderful singer, blue-eyed soul. She's a blue-eyed blonde from Louisiana. And she sings, she belts it out. Boy, it's gospel like crazy. The other one that has vocalization on it is the Brazilian song. You might want to play that next because that has Daniel and Yelba, who's coming to the festival, vocalizing on that. There's not much verbiage. I was trying to get a sort of a Flora Perrine who sang with Chick Corea, who would just kind of scat, and there wouldn't be necessarily lyrics, just be beautiful voices.
Is that number 8?
That is number 8, yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Let me go.
Do you sing?
I don't sing, I shout.
You shout.
Joe Cocker.
Yes, no. My joke is I would never be, like Woody Allen, I would never be in a club that would have me as a member. I would never be in a band that would have me as a lead singer. But unfortunately I have. But yeah, pretty much just classic rock.
Okay, well let's take a listen to this. Is Samba do Céu.
It takes us to Brazil.
Okay, here we go. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. Oh, there we go. That's another track off of that great album that John brought in, Daniel Blanchard and John Carney. That was called Samba do Céu. Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. And you play here as well.
Yes, I do. I'm playing currently Thursday nights with a percussionist named Papolin, Panamanian gentleman, and at the Trip Hotel in Albrook. And then on Friday nights, I play with Papolin, and we had a lady singer named Carla Cayerbi from Peru, who currently resides actually out in San Carlos. And she comes into the city on Friday nights, and she's going to be joining my band Gato Maximo for the Boquete Jazz Blues Festival on 3 or 4 songs up there with us. And she is a phenomenal singer. I mean, I can't stress enough how incredible she is. She sings in 4 languages, beautiful voice, and she does something a lot of singers don't do. She can actually improvise with her voice. A lot of singers will sing the song and that's it. She'll take off like scatting and incredible. Yeah. Tremendous energy on her part. And I'm excited about my band, Gato Maximo. We debuted it a week ago up in Coronado to rave reviews. And that's also the name of my website, gatomaximo.com. The CDs are available on my website. You can order the entire CD or just individual MP3s. Also on cdbaby.com, which is a website for unsigned artists. Independent, So.
And you know a couple of friends of mine as well. Eddie Duran.
Eddie Duran, great jazz piano player and singer.
Eduardo
Crocomo, who's the bass player in my band, who's a great musician.
And my favorite, Shorty and Slim.
Yeah, since I got here, almost right away, I started playing with Shorty and Slim off and on.
They're wonderful. Okay, Trip Hotel on Thursday nights.
On Thursday nights, time? Instrumentally. Thursday nights is 7 to 10. Friday nights is 8 to 11.
Okay, is there room to dance there?
Room to dance, and it's wonderful. They have happy hour from 5 to 8, 2 for 1 beer, wine, and sangria. They have $5 tapas, Peruvian ceviche, tortilla gallego, Spanish omelet. They have just a cheese and serrano plate. So it's and it's great atmosphere, beautiful decor. It's a wonderful place. The staff is very friendly and
the
cheerful.
Parking's easy.
And the parking is easy. Free valet parking, yes, and safe. They really, yeah.
And what nights are those again?
Thursday night, I'm instrumental with my friend Papolin, and on Friday nights, backing up Carla Cayerbi with singing.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Wonderful.